These files were never meant to be public, but someone reopened them. This is the Dark Bureau. A minister's signature turns forest into commerce, a silent but sweeping transfer. 10,000 hectares of rare rosewood move with a flick of the pen, from living landscape to ledgers. Maps remain unchanged. Reports depict managed stewardship. In reality, ancient forests are stripped quietly as logs are loaded daily onto waiting ships. No alarm is raised. Everything proceeds on paper, stamped by customs officers, wrapped in bureaucracy. These transactions, buried in files and formalities, give illegal extraction a mask of order. But what official records ignore, the forests bear witness to: whole tracts vanishing, memorialised only in bribes and whispered agreements. Each shipment leaches more than wood from Madagascar. It empties public coffers and chips away at trust. Health and education budgets shrink, while faith in institutions fades. The system is sophisticated, not lawless. Ministries coordinate, customs and shipping lines move timber with shared purpose, as rosewood becomes currency, traded by the well-connected. Official seals and export permits, rather than protecting resources, become tools in a shadow market. This is no story of rogue loggers acting in a vacuum. Such vast timber flows only because the state enables, motivates, and sustains them. The system is not merely captured, it is re-engineered to siphon collective wealth into private hands. Executive power is exercised through authorizations and regulatory gaps. To order a tree felled is to reassert control. Here, law becomes a lever of privilege, and foreign prices are met by fierce domestic manoeuvring. The public image is carefully maintained. Police apprehend trucks at dawn and escort them by night. Reform announcements and new legal strictures fill headlines, but historical records show the cycle. Amnesties 1 year, special permits the next. The judiciary promises justice, yet loopholes multiply. The public face, timber bosses, customs officers, are nodes in a deeper system. Real power brokers hide in offices, drafting policies and orchestrating process. Bureaucratic routines, far from chaotic, are precise and durable. Most actors only glimpse fragments, but over years the mechanism perpetuates itself, rendering isolated actions nearly invisible. How is this possible, and who sits at the centre? Understanding the illicit timber trade means tracing signatures as much as money. From isolated camps to capital ministries, each step rewrapped in official justifications. Business as usual here is managed illegality, an ecosystem of impunity. Today, we illuminate the journey from hidden felling sites to government archives and export approvals, following a chain custom-built for plausible deniability. Investigations reveal a robust, unspoken commerce in access and influence. Behind each exported shipment stands a sequence of engineered failures, the law circumvented, bureaucracy manipulated, public trust eroded. These are not random but systematic lapses. Token arrests or seized logs are the visible tip of a vast, submerged structure. The criminals wear uniforms, issue permits, and drive state vehicles. Export documents bear familiar names, but more revealing are the roles. Who alters law? Who smooths approvals? Who profits from delay? This is not simply about bad actors, but about a contaminated system. To maintain this machine, law is made permeable by profit. Madagascar's protection statutes are riddled with grey zones, emergency permits, ambiguous authorisations, regulatory amendments. Laws meant for conservation become escape hatches, modified in committees shielded from view. New exemptions, presented as emergencies, rip through existing protections. Quiet reshuffles replace career officials with allies. Regulatory officers become engines for personal gain. Under the guise of complexity, what appears chaotic is tightly choreographed. Multiple investigations by watchdogs and parliamentary panels trace the pattern to high officers. The rot proves not accidental, but robust and enduring. Investigators, local and foreign, trace timber from muddy felling sites to distant offices and up the administrative chain. Surface trade is sanitised. Receipts match goods, approvals align. Deeper scrutiny, however, reveals patterns, recurring signatures across provinces, permits backdated to evade new bans, custom seals on both seized and approved shipments. Field certificates cluster with the same names, difficult to fake unless the forgers control the process. Surveillance confirms truckloads moving at night escorted by police. Bribes mirror the value of both timber and official rank. Reformers inside and out hit walls of delay and sabotage. For every rare success an official caught, containers seized, new routes quickly form, showing the system's resilience. The trail leads to government ministries. When international audits or local outcry peak, the machinery adapts. Reviews show a routine, abrupt revocations followed by new exceptions. Technical clearances and emergency authorisations appear, explained by urgent necessity. Money doesn't always move openly. Power flows through kinship, staff shuffling, and unwritten alliances. Whistleblowers speak of logs held in warehouses for months, then shipped after late-night orders. All files check out procedurally, except for the collective orchestration. Accountability efforts see the system reroute. Enforcement priorities shift. Key actors are quietly moved, and the wider process snaps back. What emerges is not random corruption, but methodical, institutional decay. A rare break occurs. Prosecutors, joined by international agencies, intercept a major shipment. Documents are flawless, but the timber is newly cut, the signature unmistakable. Media attention spikes as proof emerges. Ministers authorising illegal exports. Denials are careful, but the evidence stands. Parliamentary inquiries convene. Statutes are hurriedly tweaked. Foreign partners threaten embargoes. Yet as headlines fade, systemic adaptation takes hold. Scapegoats are prosecuted. Senior architects of corruption are reassigned. And the system absorbs the shock, regaining its rhythm. Institutional responses reflect both inertia and adaptation. National prosecutors bring charges against a few mid-level figures. Legislative bodies launch oversight initiatives, but reforms barely close old loopholes. International donors increase scrutiny, yet meaningful leverage is rare. Frustrated reformers brief the press, but are sidelined inside agencies. Audits drag on, outpaced by new business schemes, shell companies, reflagged shipments, money sent offshore. For every well-publicised case, the core design, adaptable and self-preserving, remains intact. Public prosecutions ease foreign concern and domestic anger, but the upper tier rarely faces real sanction. The consequences ripple outward. Rural communities near forest margins face devastated land. Fertile ground turns barren, water grows scarce, fields dry out as erosion follows clear felling. Biodiversity collapses, species vanish before they're found. Local leaders, partners in stewardship, are shifted aside or co-opted. Conservation donors hesitate, some withdraw, demanding proof of change. Civil society, weary from endless cycles of scandal and delay, scrambles for new strategies. When the extraordinary becomes routine, outrage dulls. Fatigue replaces hope. The effects reach beyond ecology and economy. Public faith erodes further as reforms fail, and illicit trade persists. Legal changes often renew hope, but rarely seal off abuse. The line between real reform and elite adaptation grows thin. For many, confidence in the state as a steward is lost. Justice officers display new banners, but their halls are empty, quiet, flickering with the promise of inquiry, rarely fulfilled. Madagascar's illegal timber economy survives not by sheltering a single cabal, but through an entire system. Distributed, adaptive, recurring at every level. When prosecutions occur, they're absorbed, not transformative. The fundamental question lingers: can such machinery be reformed from within, or do new actors simply inherit its logic? That answer will determine not just the fate of the forests, but the institutions meant to protect them. The fight is no longer just for trees, but for the legitimacy of governance itself. Every signature, every approval remains a crossroads toward accountability or deeper impunity.